So, my dear students, once again I welcome you back to Prudence Coaching English class. Here you will get ICSE, CBSE, and WBBSE solutions of all subjects. So, my dear students, as we came up with a new video, you can recognize that this is from your favorite book, that is New Oxford Modern English, and this book is written by, or the author is David Hosberg and Nicholas Hosberg. We all love them, right? Okay, this is course book 6 and this book is published by Oxford School Education. So, my dear students, without wasting our time, let us start with the story that is Old Tirumala. Long ago, a king ruled over a place called Gajapuram. He had a beautiful palace, many servants and guards, and vast stables. At his court, there were famous artists, musicians, dancers, poets, and architects. Wise ministers helped him to administer his large kingdom. Debates were held frequently and important ideas were discussed in court. So, here in the starting of the story, we get to know that long ago a king used to rule over a place called Gajapuram. And this king had a large, beautiful palace with many guards, servants, stables, everything was there. Even in his court, the people who were there were from different profession. Some were artists, some was musicians, some were dancers, poets, architects, means all the professional people were there in this particular court. Even the minister who were there were very wise, means they had vast knowledge. They used to administer, means take care of his large kingdom. Debates means a topic will be given to you. Some people will talk for that topic and some will talk against the topic, and the topic on which they will speak, that will be very important. So here debates were held frequently and important ideas were discussed in court. Frequently means very often. Next, the king was well known for his love of wisdom. However, he was extremely hot-headed and impatient. When he was annoyed by someone, he immediately had them thrown into the palace dungeon. His ministers knew his moods well. They were careful never to anger him. Some of them in past spent time in dungeons. So here dungeons means an underground prison cell. Means where the punishments were given and they were just sent in that underground prison. So here the king is said to be a hot-headed and impatient person. Means extremely he was impatient. Means what decision to take he doesn't know. Means with a simple thing he used to get angry and take decision without using his brain. But he was known for his love for wisdom. Means he used to love the person who is full of knowledge. Means vast knowledgeable persons or people were admired by this particular king, but he was not a patient person. Means he used to get angry whenever, means no specific reason is needed for his anger. And when he used to get angry, means annoyed, he immediately, without thinking anything that what happened or what is the cause, he used to immediately throw the person into the palace dungeon or the prison. Next, old Tirumala, a wise and faithful minister, had served the king's father and now served the present king. In his youth, Tirumala had taken part in all the great debates. These days, he did not say much. Whenever he was asked for his opinion about something, he would reply, "Everything happens for our own good," just like a parrot. He would repeat this sentence over and over, much to the king's annoyance. Old Tirumala, however, was devoted to king and followed him wherever he went. So from this particular paragraph we get to know about old Tirumala, but when he was young, he used to take part in all debates. He was a person who served the king's father, and now he is serving the present king. But the thing is, now whenever someone asked for his opinion that whether this one is right or not, what to do, what not to do, he did not reply anything. He just said that everything happens for our own good, means whatever happens it's for our own benefit. So he used to just repeat these things like a parrot. And this person was, however, very devoted, means he used to follow the king everywhere where he used to go. Next, one day a grand debate was organized in the palace. As the king entered the hall through a large ornate teak doorway, his hand brushed against the door panel, and he felt a sudden stab of pain. There was a long cut on his middle finger. He examined the surface of the door. One of the small brass knob had disappeared. In its place was a rusty nail. This annoyed the king and he was furious. He marched briskly to his throne and summoned the attendants. He shouted at them, he screamed abuse, he stamped his feet and threatened to have their heads cut off. Finally, he had them thrown into the palace dungeons. What happened in this particular paragraph is, one day a debate, means a grand debate, means a big debate was organized, means planned. As the king entered the hall, through a large ornate, means a rich elaborate decoration was made in that particular court, and teak doorway, means the doorway which is made of teak. His hand suddenly got brushed against the door panel and he felt the pain. So what happened? He felt the pain and he just examined what happened, how he got the pain. So he found that one brass knob was disappeared. In that place, what was there? A rusty nail. Rusty means the nail was rusted, means it was not new, it was old and its color has changed due to oxidation. This annoyed, means for this purpose king got angry. He was very furious, means he was very dangerous type of. He marched briskly, means quickly he was moving to the throne where he sat, and summoned means called his attendants, and he shouted at them. What happened? He screamed abuse, means said some bad words. He stamped his feet and threatened that, I can cut off your heads, and like this he said. And finally what he did, he just thrown all that attendants or all those attendants into the palace dungeons, what he used to do. When the king sat down, his anger was quite plain to the assembly. His cheeks were crimson with wrath. The minister hung his heads in shame. He glowed at them and roared, "Now, you fool, answer me this. Why have I been cut and not any of you ever?" What happened? In this particular paragraph, we find that king was very angry. Now he is very angry and he is inquiring the persons or the ministers who were there, who were hanging, means they were putting down their head in shame because their king got hurt, so they were just putting their head down. But this person, the king, glowed and roared, means he was very angry and he was shouting, "Now, you fools, answer me this. Why have I got and not any of you?" Means why I got hurt, why haven't you got the hurt? So you fools, you need to answer this. Next, the ministers shuffled nervously and pretended to be thinking. They knew better than to enrage the king further by offering a reason. How were they to answer his questions? The king, looking directly at old Tirumala, repeated the question. So what happened here? When the king asked this type of question, they were very nervous, means the ministers were very nervous. They were just showing that they are thinking, means pretending, just show off that they are in many thinking they are having in their brain. So they are thinking what reason the persons will give to this particular king. So suddenly what happened, directly this king asked the same question to old Tirumala. Well, your highness, replied the minister, it is for your own good. Everything happens for your own good. Indeed, quite frankly, it is for, but he did not allow to finish. So this person, old Tirumala, was saying that, your highness, this happened because this is for your own good only. And everything happens for own good only. Indeed, means it is true. Quite frankly, it is for, he was just continuing when he was stopped. Means he was not allowed to finish the sentence. You dull old parrot, screamed the king. Your words means nothing. They are just words, and you can think about them when you join the attendants in the dungeon. So here what happened, the king is screaming, means he is shouting and saying, you dull, you don't know anything, you don't have a brain, you are an old parrot, your word means nothing, means whatever you are saying, it has no sense, they are just words, nothing else, they are not meaningful, you are not wise, and you can think all these things when you will put into the dungeons and you will stay with the attendants. So what happened, this old person or old Tirumala was given punishment. Furiously, the king turned to a guard who stood quaking nearby and ordered him to escort the old man away. As the old minister was departing, the king shouted, Old man, you will remain in dungeon until your words can be proved. Do you understand? So here what happened, the king got very angry. He was furious, he was dangerous, looking dangerous. The king turned towards a guard who was just standing nearby, and that particular guard was very afraid. He ordered, means the king ordered him to take him away, means to take old Tirumala away. And when this old Tirumala was departing, means moving out of the court, the king shouted and said, Old man, you will remain in the dungeon unless and until your words can be proved. Means unless and unless what you are telling, that particular things are proved to be correct, you will stay in that particular dungeon. Do you understand? Means have you understood whatever I have said? Old Tirumala nodded sadly. In a choked and feeble voice, he said, I understand, your highness. It is for my own good that I am being locked up. So here we find the old Tirumala was very sad. He said in feeble voice that I understand everything, and I think this is for my own benefit that I am being given a punishment and locked up in dungeon. Next what happened, Tirumala only just managed to avoid being hit by a large vase which came hurtling through the air. Means someone has thrown, maybe the king has thrown a flower vase or a large vase which came through the air, and somehow this Tirumala managed not to get hurt. Next, the debate never took place. The king stormed out, and embarrassed visitors and minister departed too. So what happened? This debate was stopped at that moment. The king stormed out, means got out. He was very anxious. He was very angry and embarrassed, means the people who were there, the visitors, ministers, to them this king said some bad words, and they also departed, means they also left the court. Next, soon after this shocking and unpleasant incident, the king returned to his old form, but he had completely forgotten about his old Tirumala or old minister. It was a case of out of sight, out of mind. Old Tirumala was still locked away. So what happened after this things what had happened? Shockingly what happened? This king forgot everything and returned to his old state, means he was doing as if nothing was happened, and all things were means all thing was in the position, means no problem, nothing. The king was very normal. So, and he forgot this old Tirumala, means his minister was forgotten by him. He not only forgot him, but it just went out of his mind that someone was there or some old minister was there whose name was old Tirumala. Next, then one day the king was reminded of old Tirumala. So somehow the king was reminded one day about old Tirumala. I cannot let him out, said the king in his most regular and stubborn manner, until his words are proved correct. The wound on my hand is still raw and infected. Was this my own good? Bah, still, it is not going to stop me from going hunting tomorrow. So somehow this king was reminded about old Tirumala, but he said, no, I am very serious about this until and unless it is proved that the words which this Tirumala said that day are true. Means how can it be for my betterment that I got hurt in my hand? It is still now raw, means it has not cured or you can see that it is infected. Then how he said like that? So I will not let him out. So this king was very serious in this regard, and he planned to go for hunting tomorrow or the next day. The next morning the king and his friends rode out of Gajapuram on horseback. At midday they arrived at a thick forest. After the hot and dusty journey, the hunting party was relieved when they arrived at a cool river. They dismounted to rest. The king, although tired and hungry, did not wait. He took his bow and quiver of arrows and set off on foot along the bank of the river. So as you can see, students, next morning the king and his friends went for hunting. As the journey was hot and dusty, all the people was very tired, and they sat by the river which was very cool, and they just kept all things aside. So my dear students, as you can see, as planned, the king just went for hunting with his friends, and as the journey was hot and dusty, all of them got tired, and they sat beside a cool river, dismounted themselves for rest. But on the other hand, the king was very tired and hungry, but then also he did not wait there. He took his bow and quiver of arrows and set off on foot along the bank of the river. So along the bank of the river he was walking and he was moving, means he did not sat for rest. I shall bring some tasty meat for our dinner, he shouted, making his way over the rocks and disappearing into the forest. So here we find the king shouted and said that I am going to take some tasty meat for our dinner, and by saying this he just got disappeared into the forest. Half an hour later the king felt tired. The forest was quiet. The birds and animals were resting. The king had been in scorching sun all morning, and his injured finger troubled and ached from holding his horse reins. He sat down on a large flat rock that sloped towards the river. The soft breeze and gentle gurgling of the water made him drowsy. He lay down and was soon lulled into a deep sleep. So what happened? After half an hour, this king got very tired, and as he could not find any animal, birds or other animals in the forest, because all of them were resting at this particular time, and as the king was moving through scorching sun, means the sun was very hot, and his finger was injured for that reason, as he was holding the rope of the horse. That's why his hand was also paining. So he just sat down on a large flat rock which sloped towards the river, and the gentle gurgling sound of water was coming. So he found himself drowsy, means he was sleepy. So finally he just slept there. In a deep sleep he was found there. Next, suddenly the king was awoken by a loud roar. So loud roar came, and the king was just got up from the sleep. He opened one eye and caught a glimpse of a yellow and black stripe of what was unmistakably a tiger. It came up to the king in two long bounds. The king lay very still, kept his eyes shut and prayed. So what happened? Suddenly he got he just woke up from his sleep. He saw a yellow and black striped animal which was a tiger, and this was coming towards the king, and the king was very afraid, so he stayed still, means he was not moving. He kept his eyes shut, means he closed his eyes and prayed. The king, sniffing and growling, prowled round the king. The terrified king did not move a muscle. After a few minutes, the tiger left, and king cautiously sat up and looked nervously into the undergrowth. The tiger had gone so quickly he made his way back to his friends. So what happened? The king came sniffing, means he was just smelling, and growling, means making sound, and it was coming towards the king, but the king was very strong and he kept himself still, means he was not moving. He kept his eyes closed. So after few minutes, tiger left as he could not find anything. So the king cautiously sat up, means after seeing all these things, he sat up and saw that in the undergrowth also he could not find anything. So the tiger was gone, so he quickly made his way back to his friends, means he came back to the place where all other people were resting. The king was badly shaken and certainly did not want to spend the night in the forest. He announced that they would return immediately. His friends did not argue but gone quietly as they all departed. So what happened here? The king was very afraid by this situation or by incident, so he just decided that today only he is going back. So he had informed all other people or his friends, and they all just said okay, no problem, and all of them departed, means moved from the forest. The following morning, the king summoned his ministers. He told them about his experience with the tiger. So on the next day, following morning, means on the next morning, the king summoned or called his minister and told all about the experience which he had yesterday with the tiger. Can any one of you wise men explain why the tiger did not attack or eat me? He asked. So he is asking all the wise ministers that can any one of you explain it to me, that why did not the tiger attack or eat me previous day? One minister said boldly, Your Majesty, a tiger never touches or devours a man who is injured. So here one of the ministers is saying, Your Majesty, tiger never hurt a person who is already injured. So this was the reason given by the minister. The king glanced at his swollen finger. The wound had opened up and causing him great discomfort. It was then that he reminded of old Tirumala. He went immediately to the dungeon. The king personally released old Tirumala. Then he embraced him warmly and apologized for his behavior. The king glanced, means looked at his finger, swollen finger which was swollen, and he found that the wound was still open up. So that particular time he reminded of old Tirumala and his words. So he just went to the dungeon to release that old man, that is old Tirumala. He embraced him, he said him, means thanked him, and also apologized, means said sorry for his behavior. My old and trusted friend, said the king, I have wronged you. It was truly for my own good I received this cut. Your words have been proved beyond doubt. So here the king is saying it is true that I have got this hurt because of my own good. So your words was true. I was wrong in my words. So everything is now proved that you are correct. Next, the king brought old Tirumala into the hall and explained to the assembly why he had set Tirumala free. All the ministers cheered loudly. So the king brought old Tirumala back to the court and explained the assembly, means all the people who were there in the court, why he make him free. And all the ministers, by hearing this, they just shouted and cheered. When the cheering had died down, the king spoke, means when the cheering was stopped, the king spoke. What did he speak? Tirumala. He said, "Now answer me this. It was for my own good that I was injured, but what good did it do to you? Be locked up in the dungeon." So now the king is asking, okay, Tirumala, it was for my own good that I got cut, but what good was there in you that you were put in the dungeon, means prison? With a twinkle in his eye, a broad smile, the old man answered, "My lord, you know how devoted I am to you. If I had not been thrown into prison, I would have come hunting with you. I would have followed you river. The tiger would have attacked me." So here the man is saying, or old Tirumala is saying, that I am devoted to you, means I follow you always, and you know that if I were not put into the dungeon or prison, I would have come with you and the tiger would have attacked me. So this was the good thing which happened to me. The king was impressed with Tirumala's answer. He showered him with honors and rich gifts. On a stone in front of the palace, he ordered his craftsmen to carve in large letters, "Everything happens for our own good." So here we find the king was very much impressed with Tirumala's answer and given him many gifts, and he has ordered the craftsmen of the court to write in big or large letters in front of the palace that everything happens for our own good. So my dear students, if you find the content of this particular video helpful for you, then like, share, comment and also subscribe our channel, and don't forget to press on the bell icon to get regular update from this particular channel. Students, you can check out the playlist to get all videos arranged in order according to the subject. Students, keep watching, keep learning, have fun and share with your friends so that we can get more students like you and you can help your friends out. Thank you, students.